Hey everyone, I've been going over the history of Brother Voodoo, and we're currently going over his time as Doctor Voodoo, Sorcerer Supreme. This period of time in Marvel Comics is very limited in terms of how much we explore Jericho Drumm being the main defender of mystic threats against Earth as the Sorcerer Supreme. But today we're going to cover a real bright spot in this era of Brother Voodoo history, where Jericho Drumm teams up with Victor Von Doom to take on Nightmare. It's a real fun time, so be sure to stick around for the full video, and also, if you haven't caught up with him, I've done a ton of videos on this character, and you can learn more about it by clicking here in the top right corner for more. Now free, Nightmare taunted Doctor Voodoo, claiming he had been manipulating Jericho for years through the man's dreams, all leading to this moment. In response, Drumm summoned a number of spirits, attacking the powerful villain with the lost souls of Shumagora, only for Nightmare to take control of these beings and overwhelm Jericho with a deadly assault spearheaded by Daimon Hellstrom. Quickly outmatched, Drumm fled, and knew he would need help to deal with this menace. Meanwhile, in Latveria, Victor Von Doom erected something called a reality shield around his home nation. The barrier was designed to keep Nightmare and his extra-reality forces at bay, while he formulated a more permanent solution to this invasion. Drumm managed to seal away Nightmare from his sanctum, at least for a moment, giving him time to stow away the artifacts of the Sorcerer Supreme. Daimon, however, managed to break through these magical barriers, and nearly killed Jericho. But luckily, Daniel Drumm appeared and possessed Daimon, explaining he had managed to hide away most of the magics in the sanctum, provoking Nightmare's fury. The brothers, with Hellstrom's body, now began to flee, intent on finding the Avengers, only to be attacked by the Ghost Riders Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze, who had also fallen under the Nightmare's thrall. These spirits, both possessing deadly levels of celestial power, meant that the Drumm brothers could only briefly knock the Riders back before absconding to New York City, lucky to have survived the encounter at all. There they found Nightmare's influence had already spread through the entire city, and he had found a new ally eager to take his revenge on Doctor Voodoo. The Hood returned to form, and quickly blasting Jericho with 2 supernatural bullets. His body was only saved by Daniel, but it was too late for his mind. The Sorcerer Supreme had become possessed by Nightmare. Daniel Drumm was forced to flee as an army of supernaturally empowered superheroes pursued him, all under Nightmare's control. Attacked by his own brother, Daniel, still in the body of Daimon, nearly got Hellstrom killed by the corrupted Sorcerer Supreme, forcing Drumm to return to his brother's body. This managed to force Jericho free of Nightmare's control with the aid of the Eye of Agamotto. Now reunited, the Drumm brothers turned their attention to the Nightmare at hand. Together, they sought the aid of the various Loa, only to find them all mysteriously gone. Met by a revered deity known as Yamala, bringer of goodness, she warned them that all they accomplished by contacting her was opening the possibility of Nightmare corrupting the Loa, just as he had done to the beings on Earth, prompting the deities to all go into hiding. Jericho knew this corruption would be a possibility, but he had no choice, and insisted they need to work together to stop this menace. Yamala thus told them of a means to defeat Nightmare. By bringing him physically to the realm of the Loa, called the Bondier, it will drain the villain of his malevolent energies. However, to do this, Daniel realized they would need the device Doctor Doom used to send the spirit to Hell earlier. With little time remaining, Doctor Voodoo joined with Doom in Latveria to hold off Nightmare and his army of magical superheroes. This led to a brutal and devastatingly long battle where many innocents were killed, with both Jericho and Victor being forced to end just about every magical superhero on the planet. These possessed heroes knew nothing of the actual situation, only seeing nightmares concocted by their master right up to the very end. Things went on like this for days, until nearly every mage on Earth was killed, along with other powerful beings like Man-Thing and Dracula. Jericho managed to suffer through all of this until he felt the full wrath of Johnny Blaze's penance stare, one of the Ghost Rider's more powerful abilities that Drumm is very lucky to have survived, only saved thanks to the might of Doctor Doom. Increasingly desperate, Doom handed over the Book of Ashanti to the Sorcerer Supreme. willing at this point to do just about anything to help against the relative strength of Nightmare. Through this, Jericho learned the Ghost Rider spheres were not possessed, only their human hosts. The group realized Daniel Drumm could free the Ghost Riders and use that power, so Victor agreed to hand over the only weapon that so far had proven effective against Nightmare, an advanced piece of technology called the Actuality Shield, which he had been using to force a certain sense of reality over Latveria. This device would prevent Nightmare from taking over Daniel's mind, but it would also destroy his entirely spiritual body. Still, Daniel agreed to possess Johnny Blaze and moved in for one last-ditch effort against Nightmare. Jericho was sad at the thought of losing his brother, but Daniel reassured him that this act of heroism would make their parents happy. Daniel rushed Nightmare and detonated the shield around them, turning Nightmare, at least temporarily, into a mortal being who could feel pain for the first time. With this powerful villain stunned, Doom and Jericho were able to grab the violent entity and throw him into the portal, which Victor used to convert Nightmare into pure energy and absorb the being. Doom then revealed this was all part of his master plan. He deliberately stranded Jericho in Nightmare's realm in an effort to lure the entity to Earth. Now, banking on near unlimited power, he turned on the Sorcerer Supreme and once again demanded the Eye of Agamotto. Drumm, in turn, simply stood his ground against Doom, and stated he was aware of all of this. Daniel then took possession of Dr. Doom, and Jericho explained the Book of Ashanti had actually cast a spell of trust on Doom to ensure his cooperation up until this point. The brothers worked together to orchestrate everything, and ensure Daniel would pretend to die so that he could eventually possess Doom. Jericho explained to his brother that he was able to manipulate Victor with one simple variable villains so often overlook. The love the Drumm brothers shared for each other was something Doom could not adequately account for. The two brothers trusted each other so implicitly that Victor never imagined Daniel would risk his own life like that. They sent Nightmare off to the Bondier in the hopes that the Loa might use the villain's energies in a more productive way. On his way out of Earth, however, Nightmare warned them that an even greater threat was on the way, having been working through the Sorcerer Supreme in secret the entire time. As the brothers sealed away the portal, Doom managed to expel Daniel from Jericho's body and attacked, outraged at Jericho's audacity. Dr. Voodoo stopped Victor's assault with a swift punch to the face, and told Victor to leave, having clearly lost this fight. Doom assented to this demand, but promised he would eventually return. Though Daniel was happy over this victory, Jericho remained worried, feeling as though the boundaries around this world's reality were weaker than ever. However, the mood was far from all doom and gloom. The Drumm brothers not only saved the world, but also undid Nightmare's widespread destruction and chaos in the process. This brought back all the people that were lost, and they even managed to maintain control over the Sorcerer Supreme artifacts. As the brothers settled back in New Orleans, they were unaware of a Loa named Ogun the Slayer, who in the Bondier managed to seize the power of Nightmare for himself. This being seemed intent on invading Earth next, but to date he never has. It is believed that his feelings of rage and thirst for conquest may have subsided over time, as Ogun was not always a force of destruction. In fact, in the past, he had worked to benefit mankind. It is also possible that the ancient mystics who had sealed him away long ago still prevent his return to this very day. As though their magics were weakened by Nightmare, Jericho reinforced them and they never were fully broken. In either case, the world was far too busy to notice something like that happening in another realm, and Doctor Voodoo with it. While Jericho was still adapting to his new role, the larger world of superheroes was experiencing a period of unprecedented turmoil. A series of catastrophic events started by the recent Skrull invasion had put Norman Osborn in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Norman was a longtime enemy of a superhero Jericho had worked with years ago named Spider-Man, and as the new head of S.H.I.E.L.D. he was growing increasingly unstable, making more and more superheroes around Earth fugitives of the law, and eventually starting an all-out war effort against the realm of Asgard. Following in the tradition of Stephen Strange, Jericho largely took a back seat to major events like this, and they were generally viewed as more of a matter of superhero politics than a threat to the mystic order and balance around Earth. Asgard, though it represented a significant trove of extremely powerful items with magical properties, and other such phenomena of interest, did not really change anything for Jericho Drumm, as many other heroes were involved in this conflict and thus able to handle whatever Norman had planned. It seems around this time Drumm only involved himself when the need for a Sorcerer Supreme was obvious, such as when, as a result of a weakened Nightmare, an extremely powerful entity named the Chaos King attacked Earth, quite possibly representing the threat Nightmare was warning about earlier. Jericho joined with other superheroes in battling this being and protecting the world, though ultimately it was others like Hercules and Thor that took the lead in neutralizing this sinister being. This may seem careless given the perilous nature of the powers involved, but ordinary supervillains might seem like a mild threat when the fabric of reality was at stake during this period, and it happened quite a bit during Drumm's time as Sorcerer Supreme due to that weakened sense of reality he was facing. As such, Jericho instead concerned himself with something that threatened all of existence, a mercenary who he had already had a memorable encounter with named Deadpool. Wade Wilson had encountered a number of alternate versions of himself from across the multiverse, while he was also being flung through time, leading to a net effect where the natural order of the universe was in danger. Ever a busy man, Jericho was able to quickly restore things to normal and tasked the loudmouth mercenary with returning a zombified Deadpool to its home universe. He left, once again mildly perplexed by the mercenary's behavior, but also confident Steven was right about there being a good person within Deadpool deep down. Wilson did indeed succeed at returning the zombie, and even while in this alternate universe defeated a zombie version of Jericho Drumm that inhabited this apocalyptic realm. This zombie version of Jericho Drumm was intent to spread the zombie plague into the multiverse, so his defeat by Wade Wilson was particularly significant. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our channel because next time we're going to be covering a very interesting period in Jericho Drumm's life, his death. However short-lived that death might be. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time on Comic Island.